Good morning and happy Wednesday. Hope everybody at home is doing well. Today I want to go over our assignment from February 9th. So if you have not done this assignment yet, which nobody from home has, so go ahead and go to our Canvas homepage, click on the assignment, which is Solving Multi-Step Equations Day 2, found on February 9th. And when you click on that and hit the load button, open it in Cami, it should look like this. And then as you watch the video, we will work these problems along together. Hopefully, what I would encourage you to do is to pause this video, try to work through the equations yourself, and then go back and watch the video and see if you had it right. So obviously, I have no way of knowing at home if you did that or not. So, but when we go to take the quiz, it will be in your best interest to know how to do these on your own. And so this would help you do that. All right, so for number one, we've got the 15x equals 255. We want to get x by itself. It's currently attached to a 15 with multiplication, so you always do the opposite to break it loose. And so 15 divided by 15 reduces to 1. And of course, whatever you do to one side, you always do to the other. So when we divide 255 by 15, we get x equals 17. And so that's the answer there, x equals 17. All right, so on our second one, we want to get b by itself, and there is a negative 14 over there attached with addition, subtraction. So if it's attached to the b with addition and subtraction, that means we break it loose with addition and subtraction. Since it's a negative 14, I'm going to put a plus 14 and a plus 14. Do the same thing on each side of the equation, and b equals 6. All right, number 3, again, our goal is to get v by itself. So you always look and see what's attached to the v and how's it attached. Well, fractions are division, and it's got a 4 there on the bottom. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So if I multiply by a 4, it means I also multiply this side by a 4. This 4 and this 4 cancel out, giving you v by itself, which is what we want. And then 12 times 4 is 48. So there's the answer to number 3. All right, for number 4, we want to, again, get x by itself. It's got a plus 5, so we're going to minus 5 and minus 5, and we get x equals 18. Okay, number 5. So our steps, and I have these steps on the board in the classroom, but that doesn't really do you any good there at home, so I will go ahead and tell you what those steps are. So the steps in solving these equations, step 1 is to distribute, which in this case there's nothing to distribute. Step 2 is to combine like terms on each side of the equation. And then step 3 is to move. Now I'm going to be lazy here and say your x's. It could be x's, m's, p's, t's, whatever the variable is. All right, you're going to move all your variables or all your x's to one side. And then the next thing you're going to do is move all of your numbers to the other side. And then, if needed, divide the number off of your x or your variable, okay? So in this case, there's nothing to distribute in number 5. Step 2 is to combine like terms. That means you look at this side of the equation, then you look at this side of the equation. And on either side, is there anything that's a like term that can be combined? So here you've got an 8 and a negative 4. Those are both numbers. They can be combined. So we're going to rewrite this as p. Positive 8 and negative 4 is positive 4 equals 0. Now, I didn't add 4 to both sides. I didn't do anything like that because I wasn't moving anything from one side of the equal sign to the other. I was just simply combining like terms, okay? And then now I'm ready to start moving things from side to side because now I've got everything distributed and combined. So I'm going to move that 4 over. So it's a positive 4, so I'm going to go minus 4 and minus 4, and I get p equals negative 4, okay? All right, looking at number 6, again, thinking of the whole steps here, there's nothing to distribute because there's no parentheses. So the next step is to combine like terms. I have this 6 and this -4 that are both numbers, and I can combine numbers. So the -8m I'm not messing with. 6 minus 4 is +2 equals -22. Now I'm ready to start moving. I don't need to move any m's around because there's only one m and it's already there. So now I'm just going to move the number. This 2 I want to get over on this side. So I'm going to go -2 to get it off of this side. But whatever I do to one side, I do to both. So I have to -2 on that side of the equal sign. That leaves me with -8m equals -22, and -2 is -24. And then that last step is, if necessary, to divide the number off of the m, which there is a -8 attached to the m. It's attached with multiplication, so I'm going to get rid of it with the opposite, which is division. That leaves me an m by itself, which is what I wanted. And then -24 divided by -8 is +3. So there's your answer. All right, number 7. Step 1 is to distribute. There are no parentheses here, so there's nothing to distribute. Step 2 is to combine like terms. Looking at the left side, there's nothing to combine, but looking at the right side, I can combine -3n and 2n because they're like terms. They're both n's. So -5 isn't changing. And then -3n plus 2n, well, -3 and +2 is -1n. And then my n's not by itself because that negative's there, and I can't have a negative variable as my answer. So I have to divide by a -1 and divide by a -1. Those cancel out, which is what I wanted, leaving n. And then on the other side, -5 divided by -1 is +5. All right, number 8, still no parentheses, so still no distribution, but we do need to look for like term or like terms. So we're going to combine like terms. Well, we have a 5x and a 6x. Both of them are on the right side of the equation, which means I can just rewrite it and write those together. 5x plus 6x is 11x, and I didn't do anything with that +5, and I didn't do anything with the -17. Now I don't have anything to combine, so now I'm going to start moving stuff around. I'm going to get that 5 over with the 17, so I'm going to minus it off and minus it on this side because we always do the same thing on the each side of the equal sign. That leaves me 11x over here. -17 minus 5 is -22. Two negatives go deeper negative when you're adding and subtracting. And then I'm going to divide by 11 and divide by 11 because I want the variable by itself, and I get x equals -22 divided by 11 is -2. All right, number 9. Okay, looking for like terms to combine. On the left side, I have a number and a variable, can't combine those. On the right side, I have a number and a variable. I can't combine those, so it's time to go to step 3, which is to move all my x's to one side. I don't care which side you choose to move to, it does not matter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move this 3x over here. So to do that, it's a -3x, so I'm going to go +3x and +3x. Now that leaves me 1. -7 and +3 leaves me -4x, right? A negative and a positive, you subtract and take the sign of the bigger number, and my 7 is bigger, so I'm going to use a negative sign. Now that leaves me -15 over here, and this is gone now. I moved it. Okay, now I want to get all my numbers over to the other side, so I'm going to move this 1 here by subtracting 1, and whatever I do to one side, I got to do to the other because I have to keep it equal. That moves that off of that side, leaving me -4x. And -15 and -1, two negatives go deeper, -16. And then the last step is I'm going to divide by a -4, and that leaves me x equals a -16 divided by a -4 leaves me a +4. All right, number 10, same thing. Look left, look right. There's nothing to combine. I have a number and a variable on both sides. So I move to step 3, which is to move all of my x's, or in this case, my r's. I'm going to move them all to one side. So again, I'm going to take my 8 over here. So to do that, it's a -8r, so I'm going to go +8r and +8r. And when I do that, those are gone and left with just a 5 over here. And over here, I've got the -3 I haven't done anything with, and then -4 and +8 is positive 4r. And then I want to move my number to the over there with the 5. I'm going to move that -3 over there. So to move it over, it's a negative, so I'm going to go positive. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. That leaves me 4r equals 5 plus 3 is 8. I divide by 4 because I want to get my r by itself. It's attached with multiplication, so I do division to break it loose, and I get r equals 2. All right, and of course, at any point during this video, if you need to pause it, get it written down, because especially with Cami, I get how hard it is to write on a computer screen, and so it's not always as fast as what the video goes. So at any point, that's the kind of the nice thing about being at home watching the video, is at any point you can pause this and kind of catch up with what you need to put on your screen. All right, number 11 is the first time that we see a parenthesis, which means we're going to utilize that step 1, which is distribute. And when you see a number right next to a parenthesis like this, it means times, but it means distributing that 7 times the v and the 7 times the 5. So when I do that, this first 7v just drops down. I don't do anything with that yet. Now I'm going to multiply the 7 here times this v. So 7 times v is just positive 7v. And then 7 times 5 is positive 35 equals 91. That's the distribute step. Now the next step is to look for combining like terms. Well, I have these two v's here that I can write 7v and 7v. I can rewrite it as 14v. And then I didn't do anything with the plus 35 or the 91. And now that I've combined all my like terms, I can start moving things left to right. Okay, so right now I've got all my v's over there on the left. That's good. So that means I'm going to move my 35 over with my 91. And to do that, since it's a positive 35, I'm going to subtract 35. And what I do to this side of the equals, I do to this side of the equal sign. So that and that's gone, leaving me 14v. And then on that side, I have 91 minus 35, which equals 56. And then the last step is always, if needed, to divide that number off the v. Divide that number off the v. It's attached by multiplication, so I divide it off because you always do the opposite to remove it. That leaves me v equals, and 56 divided by 14 equals 4. All right, number 12, again, we've got a distribution problem. So that means we're going to take this -7 and we're going to multiply it times the b and times the -4. So this side stays the same. -7 times b is -7b. And -7 times -4, two negatives give you a positive, and 7 times 4 is 28. Now there's nothing to combine here, right? No like terms on the left, no like terms on the right. That means we're ready to start moving. And all my b's are already over in the right, so I'm just going to leave them there, and I'm going to move my numbers over to the left, because it really doesn't matter which side you put everything, as long as all of the variables are on the right and all the variables on the left, or vice versa. You can put all the variables on the left and all the numbers on the right, but as long as they're together on opposite sides of the equation, you're fine. So -28, so I'm going to do -28 on this side as well, because whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you do to the other. -7b, and then 84 minus 28 is 56. And then the last step is to divide -7 and -7, because I have to divide off what's attached to that b. Leaves my b by itself, and then 56, positive 56, divided by -7 is -8. All right, for number 13, only 4 more to go, I believe. So these aren't bad. All right, so again, I'm not going to do anything to this side. I'm just going to leave it, so I'm going to rewrite it. On the right-hand side, I'm going to distribute. 8 times 7k is 56k. 6 got wonky. And then 8 times -6 is -48. There's no like terms to combine on the left or on the right, so I'm going to start moving. And because I only have 1k in the whole problem, I'm going to leave it where it's at, and I'm going to move my number away from it. So plus 48 and plus 48. That leaves 56k over here by itself. And on the other side, I've got negative 216 plus a 48. So when you have signs that don't match, you subtract, which is 168, and then you take the sign of the bigger number. And 216 is bigger, and it's a negative, so I'm going to take that as the sign. And then I'm going to divide by 56 and divide by 56 because I want to get k by itself. And when I divide by 56, I get k equals 3, and it's a negative 3 because I have a negative divided by a positive. So the answer is k equals negative 3. All right, for number 14, same thing. On the left-hand side here, I'm going to distribute 5 times negative 7, which is negative 35. And then I'm going to take 5 times negative 7m, which is negative 35m. And then I'm just going to write this side because I haven't done anything yet. Now all my m's are already together on one side, so I'm just going to go ahead and move this number over. And that leaves me negative 35m equals 105 plus 35 is 140. And then when I divide by a negative 35 on both sides, I get m equals, now a positive and a negative is going to give me a negative, and 140 divided by 35 is a 4, so my answer is negative 4. Okay, number 15. Okay, well, this is going to incorporate all of our steps. So distribute, combine, moving, and then dividing. All right, so first we're going to distribute. That's always step 1. Negative 6 times 7 is negative 42n. Negative 6 times negative 8 is positive 48. And then I'm just going to write this plus 6 because I didn't do anything with it. Oops. And I'm also going to write that whole equals 7 plus 5n because I didn't do anything with it. Now it's the combine like term step. And if I looked on the left side, I've got just plain old numbers here that I can combine. So negative 42n, and 48 plus 6 is positive 54. And on this side, a 7 and a 5n, I can't combine those two because one has a variable and one doesn't. So that's the combine like term step. Now I need to move all my variables to one side and all my numbers to another. So I'm going to move my 5n over. And so I'm going to do minus 5n and minus 5n. And when I do that, negative 42n and negative 5n, two negatives go deeper negative, so that's negative 47n. And then I didn't do anything with that plus 54 equals 7, right? So that's gone. Now I want to get all my numbers over to the right since I got my variables to the left. So I'm going to go minus 54 and minus 54. That's gone, and I get negative 47n. And then positive 7 and negative 54 is negative 47. 54 minus 7 is 47, and I always take the sign of the bigger number, and in this case 54 is bigger, so I'm going to carry that negative sign with me. And then last I'm going to divide off the numbers, so negative 47 and negative 47. That's gone, and I'm left with negative 47 divided by negative 47 is positive 1. Two negatives makes a positive, and anything divided by itself is 1. All right, last but not least, more of the same. Okay, nothing different here. I distribute the negative 4 times x, which is negative 4x. I distribute the negative 4 times 7, which is negative 28. And then I didn't do anything to that side. And now I'm going to move all of my variables over to the left. So I'm going to take that 8 over, and I'm going to do that by, because it's a negative 8x, I'm going to do positive 8x and positive 8x. Okay, that's gone. So over here, all I have left is the 4. On my left side, I've got negative 4x and positive 8x, which comes to positive 4x. Signs are different, so you subtract and take the sign of the bigger number, which is a positive here. And then I didn't do anything with that negative 28. Now I'm going to move the 28. It's a negative, so I'm going to add it and add it. And that gives me 4x equals 4 plus 28 is 32. And then last, I'm going to divide that 4 off of the variable so that I get it by itself. And then 32 divided by 4 is 8. And so number 16, x equals 8. All right, again, I know that was kind of fast, but you've got the nice luxury of pausing the video whenever you need. And now that you're done, you can hit submit and submit. And this is one assignment that you've got turned in and done. So if you have any questions, as always, you can email me, and I will talk to you on the next video.